Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another very important example for service dependency injection, where we will talk about the self decorator. Okay, so we will talk what is self decorator, why do we need it, and what are the benefits of using it. Similarly, like if you remember in last session we talked about the optional decorator, right? So this session is in the continuation of the same, where we will talk about the new decorator, that is self decorator. Okay, so but before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on service dependency injection, right? But prior to that you should know what is service, why do we need it, and all these basic stuff. And for the complete course you can refer the Tech Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available for all of you in the description box. From there you can learn the concepts. Okay, alright, so let's get started. And here you can see one heading is already there, that is Angular 19 course by Tech Sharmit. After that I will put the second heading, which will show today's topic name, and today's topic name is self decorator service self decorator for service dependency injection, okay, in Angular. So this is our main topic for today's session, self decorator for service dependency injection in Angular. Now to implement this thing, what you are supposed to do, firstly we need one service, right? And for self decorator, like self decorator, if I talk about the theoretical part, then it is a decorator that will help you to restrict a component to look only at the only its own providers, not at the parent's provider. Okay, so by default nature is like if you have any component, so what it will do, it will look for the providers in the parent component. But if you want to restrict it to look only in its own providers in own component, then in that case we will use the self decorator. If theoretical, I'm sure like it is not that easy to understand through theoretical, so we will do it practically. Okay, so let's go one by one. So firstly we will create the service. So here I am creating the service ng, which is for Angular, g generate as service, and service I will create in a folder. So my folder slash, and the name of the service is logger, and press enter. So it will take few seconds and it will add you the folder with two files. Okay, one is spec.ts, which we are not going to touch. This is something related to testing and we don't need it now. Second one is service.ts, which is the main file. Here we will write the logic. So let's create the service logic first, and then we will see like how self dependency injection works. Okay, so let me clear this part for you. And here you can see it is provided in root level, so maybe we will remove this part also. And for now what I'll do now, I'll simply write here log, which is a method. It will accept one message, then colon, then string, and then we will write here curly braces. Inside this we will write console dot log. Let me correct it, and this is case sensitive, so make sure to write it in the same case, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so console.log, and here we will put the message with log, which is nothing but showing the log with message. That's the simple service logic. Okay, we just created one service with one method which will accept the message, and then that message will be displayed on a screen. Perfect. So far like we are not removing it. Okay, I'll show you the normal phase, then we will remove it, then we will understand the self decorator. So now in order to use it inside a parent component, what you are supposed to do, you can simply go to app.component.html, and here you can okay, let me show you in another way. So suppose I'm not going to use it here through this HTML. Instead of this I will create my own child component. So I will create here ng gc and component name, let's say child comp, just to tell you that this is the child component, and press enter. It will wait few seconds and then it will open the application with a new component. So it is there. Okay, now what we will do, inside this app.component.ts file, I will simply add the instance for this, or you can say the provider, not instance, the provider. Okay, so let me show you in a very simple way. So like here, let's say if you, okay, let's go one by one. So for here, like we will go to firstly child component dot, because here we want to use that, right? So for that I will write here constructor, then we will add here private logger colon logger service, and then opening closing curly braces, and then we will add one method here which is say hello, opening parenthesis closing parenthesis, then here we'll write this dot hello, not hello, this dot logger dot log, and then here I will write message hello from child. Okay, so this is the simplest thing we created as a method. Now to use this method, means to call this method, what we will do, we will go to app.component.html. Here I will keep it as it is so that you can relate it that it is coming from child component. Here I will create one method, not method, I will create one button that will call that method. So I will simply write here click and say hello, that's it, with a parenthesis because this is a method, and inside this I will write say hello. Perfect. Okay, now what we will do, we will run the application ng serve -- open, enter, wait for a few seconds, and then it will show you that how it is working. Okay, so now we can see the browser which comes with some headings and some data. So you can see Angular 19 course by Sharmit, self decorator for service dependency injection in Angular. But why it is not showing the HTML part? Because we have not imported it here. So let's go here, and here we will write here app child comp. Now if you don't know where we got this name, so you can simply go to app.component.ts. here it will childcomp.component.ts, where you will find the selector name, and this is the name which we use to import it here. Now save it, refresh it. So we have this button. Okay, if I click on inspect, it will show, like if I click here, let's go to the console because we are printing it on a console. If I click on here, it will show log hello from child. If I click again, so it is working perfectly. But my question is, suppose if we are not like if you go to service and if I am not providing it on a root level. Okay, so let me clear it from the root level and save it. So in this case, what will happen, it is showing that null injection error. Why? Because we are not defining it root level. Now in last session we talked that we can use the providers. So by default you can see we are using the service inside a child component, but if I declare my provider in a app component, in a parent component, so here what I'll do, I'll simply write, if providers is not written in your code, you can simply write like this, and here if I will write logger service. Now save it and refresh it. So is it showing error? No. If I click on button, it is working perfectly. That means child component is referring to the parent component provider. But this is not a good thing. Why? Because in case of parent component, I don't want that it refer my parent component. So how we will verify that? So to verify that, what I'll do, I'll simply remove it from here, okay, and go to child component dot here, and here I will add imports, not imports, we will write here providers colon, and inside this I will put the name of the logger service. So it should work, right? Because it is in the same component. So if I save it and refresh it, you can see it is working. Okay, from where? It is working from here only. Okay, now let me show you. In case of app.component.ts file, we can simply remove this thing, okay, and also the providers, and save it and refresh it. On a click it is working perfectly. But if I here on child component.ts, if I remove this part, so where it will go? Will it show any error? Let me remove it. So you can see it is showing this null injection because now it is looking in the okay. Now interesting thing, suppose in constructor place if I write here self @ which is a decorator, right? So I will write self decorator, not like this, we will just write self, and in case of self we will use method parenthesis, okay, because this is a method, then private logger service, that's it. And to use this self you have to write like you have to import it here, self, and save it. Maybe we made a mistake by using capital S, or it should be capital S, and here also perfect. Now save it, refresh it. So it is looking where? It is looking at the child component itself. So if I remove it from here, okay, and save it and go to app.component.ts file, here if I add providers, okay, and in providers if I put the service name like this, logger service. So earlier it was working, but will it work now? Let me put comma also. So if I refresh, so you can see it is showing no provider for logger service found in the node injector. Why? Because it is referring in the child component itself, not in the parent component. Earlier it was referring it from the parent component, but now you can see it is not there in the child component, and that is why it is throwing the error of runtime error. Okay, so if I explain in a very simple way, if I summarize it in a very simple way, so self decorator force the component to look for the providers into its own component rather than into a parent component. That's it. If you have any doubt regarding this session, or if you have any questions, suggestion, or any feedback related to this, please feel free to reach out to me through comments or email. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.